Friesen donated $26, saying charity is nice. I think we can all agree on that. I mentioned earlier that speedrunning isn't limited to AGDQ or SGDQ. You can watch every weekday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, weekends at 1 p.m. Eastern here on Games Done Quick with Hotfix. We have 22 different shows with specials on the weekends, and for more information, you can go on over to gamesdonequick.com/hotfix. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about it, Hotfix shows off communities in speedrunning that are sometimes overlooked during marathons and elevates speedrunners year-round. We have shows for all interests, including ones that you can help find new games, teach you how to speedrun, and show focus on more niche parts of speedrunning, such as randomizers like we just saw. We also host special events. So come on by twitch.tv/gamesdonequick after these events. We're year-round. Nico comes through with a call to action with a $25 donation. Hey, Europe, can we get a $5 donation train going? I don't see why not. Let's see it. Oblin donated $25 as well, loved seeing FF6 Worlds collide at GDQ. Great job, runners. Absolutely worth dealing with less than 3 hours of sleep for it. As promised as well, we just received a $250 donation from Ravlin. Thank you for letting us share our favorite game with everyone. It was a blast to be a part of. Thank you for sharing it with us, Ravlin, and well done once again to all of the runners and commentators as a part of that Final Fantasy VI randomizer run. All right, and without further ado, it is time to jump through that door to Phantomile while a Moser tears through Klonoa, door to Phantomile.
All right, so we already sat through the 2-minute unskippable cutscene, so I'm ready to go whenever. Shall I just give a countdown? All right, 3, 2, 1, wahoo. All right, so Klonoa, Door to Phantomile. There's a new remake coming out of it very soon. It's a fantastic game, so if you haven't checked out the original or the previous remake that came out about 10 years ago, I really, really encourage you to give it a try. It's as fun as it looks. Handling most of the commentary for me today is going to be Ailis, another great top 10 runner of this game. And let's do this. I'll turn it over to you, Ailis.
Hi, my name's Ailis. As Amoser mentioned, I've run this game a few times before. It's a pretty fun game. It's kind of like, I guess the best way to describe it is like a 2.5D platformer. So the game world is in 3D, whereas all the enemies and sprites are in like 2D. But it does mean that you can do some kind of interesting things using kind of the different perspective that you get and having stuff in the background that you're not really supposed to interact with. But we can do that in kind of creative ways later on. The start of the run is like relatively chill. There's going to be like a lot of kind of intended platforming going on. There's going to be like a few small things that happen, like at the end of 1-1 here, for example, you can do a very small corner cut to kind of like skip just walking around a small section. So that's like a small example of what's to come. You've got like the 3D and 2D interactions there.
Yep, I tried to do that ending the fancy way, and it didn't go great, but you know, it happens.
It's all good, right? A lot of these time saves in the early game of like Door to Phantomile are very like small, and then we get to like the big flashy stuff kind of halfway through the run. So plenty of that's to watch out for. As an example here, like there's like a lot of small optimizations going on in 1.2, but yeah, not any like hugely flashy things at the moment.
Yeah, just an auto scroller here, so I guess we could do a donation or two.
Absolutely. we have a $15 donation from Elotron who said, I've never seen a speedrun of Klonoa before. Can't wait to see this beloved weird game zoomed through. Can I get a wahoo?
Wahoo!
Wahoo.
Oops. Well, there we had a wahoo. Wow, that was totally intended and not me trying to hit the checkpoint and jumping instead.
Absolute maximum wahoo content. This section here has like a cool little like optimization towards the end. There's going to be like a rock with some moves bouncing in front of it, and you can kind of like thread the needle a little bit. It's really awkward though. Essentially, like you can kind of like throw an enemy right through those moves, but yeah, it's really tricky.
Yep, you can see it didn't quite go the way we necessarily wanted. It's a really precise, annoyingly precise jump for the first level in the game, but here we have the first boss. The bosses are probably by far the hardest part of the game. This one's not too bad. The rest of them are terrifying.
Yeah, definitely. And there's RNG involved in the later ones as well. There's a small amount of RNG in this one. This boss is kind of like, you want to enter it with as much health as possible because you're going to be taking like a lot of damage boosts to try and like speed this up. The boss is only vulnerable from the back. So you'll see amoser grabbing enemies, taking a damage boost, running through, and then hitting the like boss in his big red weak spot.
Yeah, that was good. There's a little RNG manip you can do at the beginning there to get the first move into turning the right way, so you don't have to worry about doing quite as many risky damage boosts. And fortunately,
yeah,
I got it timed out.
Yeah, you want to try and make sure that you have like as much health as possible, because like one mistake there can start costing like quite a bit of health, and
yeah,
especially when you're new to running the game, like I was a while ago. You could definitely like lose a run there to just dying.
Anyone can lose a run to that. It happens.
Yeah, definitely. Like, so 2-1. We've got kind of like this like autumn aesthetic in the forest. Basically, we're trying to work out why the forest is so like dry and like lacking in life. So there's going to be like a small like optimization coming up in a bit. Essentially, there's going to be a room where there is a leaf that we want to get onto, which is on like a cycle from when you enter the room. We're just coming up to it now. And basically, amoser is going to be doing some very specific movement to get on that leaf on the way down, instead of having to wait for it to go all the way down and back up. You get just enough height. And then going for our first door clip as well. I'm going to let amoser explain these because, yeah, they're very interesting.
This one's trolling me a little bit, so I'm gonna go do this the intended way. Don't want to get too messed up by that one right away, but you'll see how long it takes to open the door. The key was right there, so we're really not losing much time. Would have been nice to show that one off, but it was trolling me a little bit. But yeah, the basic idea behind door clips is, and wall clips in general, we're going to see quite a few of them coming up, is the game evaluates the hitboxes for the enemies a frame later than it evaluates the hitbox for Klonoa, which means, oh man, I'm in a bit of trouble here. Ooh, I missed that heart too, but that's okay, we might be fine. Evaluates the hitbox for the enemy Klonoa is carrying. Gonna be a little safe here. A frame later, which means if it detects that the enemy you're carrying has clipped into the wall, it tries to push you inbounds, but you have a 1-frame window to turn the other way, and the game gets tricked into thinking you're clipping in the wrong direction, so it pushes you further out of bounds. And so with that door clip that I was trying to do there, if you on the exact frame that you are intersecting with the frame of the door, which is the only thing you can get the enemy inside, if you turn the other way, it will just push you right through the door. And we're going to see plenty more where that came from, so it's not a big deal that we missed out on that little one. I'm going to try and do this section here without...
Absolutely.
Oops,
yeah, so this section is, this is one of those like very like cool sections when it goes well, because as you can see, amoser has an enemy right now, a little moo. We can use to skip this puzzle. So getting that enemy through that section means that you don't have to grab like an extra moo on the way down.
We did it anyway for no reason, but you know, it happens.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just demonstrating what like the intended route, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly, And there's going to be like a lot of stuff in this game that is kind of taking an enemy out of like the area you're supposed to have it, or like carrying it through an area that you maybe like wouldn't be expected to have it, and then like using it to bypass a puzzle in a creative way. This game does have a lot of puzzle solving like elements to it, especially if you go for like 100% category, for example, where you would have like a lot more of the kind of side routes and stuff where you've got extra collectibles to pick up. But we kind of bypass as much of that as we can, because as fun as puzzles are, they are generally not very fast. So we want to be going as fast as possible and skipping as many of them as we can. Nice damage boost there through that big enemy. These shield enemies are the worst, especially the large ones. The large enemies, you can only kill them by throwing a moo into them. So a shielded enemy is obviously going to be really, really frustrating to deal with. So being able to take a damage boost there is really, really handy. And now we're coming up towards the end of 2-1. And we are going to be entering Cursed Pamela, who is one of the most frustrating bosses. It's very fortunate that she's early game, because there's a like element of RNG involved, and it's kind of like getting like the perfect execution with good RNG is really, really tough. So this boss is going to be very interesting. You see King Seedorf on the back there. He is our moo, essentially. He is what we're going to be using to throw at Pamela. And like that was a really, really good first one. So you can grab him off of her back when she's charging at you, which is the optimal way to do things. Sometimes she'll do that bubble attack, which is sadly bad RNG. And Seedorf is going to jump off at that point and stand on a spike ball. So that's kind of the intended way to fight Pamela. But we're going to be speeding things up by trying to grab him off her back if we can. And then also the like super cool strat that amoser does, which is grabbing Seedorf and then throwing him back at Pamela like that, catching a hitbox under the water again. That's a really, really cool strat. It's a really nice throw. So that was a really good boss. Got a little bit trolled by RNG, but really, really good.
Yeah, getting two quick hits like that feels really, really, really nice. So that was fun.
Yeah, definitely. It's like you watch like a top level run of this and they get like really good RNG and it goes like flawless, and then you try it yourself and you just realize how difficult it is to do that. So now we have 3-1, and we mentioned about door clips earlier. 3-1 has a couple that we're going to be seeing. It is a really, really like punishing stage, potentially. There's basically like, so Moshe's mentioned how they like work like previously. So we won't cover that, but there's like this really like interesting strat that is like different on like PS2 compared to like PS1. So that's going to be like interesting to see if that goes well or not.
Yeah, because I learned on the PS1 version, and this is a port. It's almost identical, but there's a couple things we think they might be floating point rounding issues. We're really not sure. It's native PS2 code, but it's exactly the same game. But there's a couple tiny little things that go differently. Nice, we got that clip. That doesn't save a lot of time at all, but it's really hard, and it was awesome to show off. Obviously, I still had to get the key for that one, but the next one's going to be a little more substantial and a lot harder.
Yeah, so this is one that on PS1 is kind of the preferred method. On PS2, there is a like a different clip you can do. But I believe Amos is going for we're going for the PS1 method on PS2, which is really, really awkward.
Yep.
So just trying to get these little one-frame movements into the door, essentially, using the Moo's hitbox to just like start there we go, really good stuff.
That is the hardest clip in the game. I cannot believe that went that well. That was beautiful.
That was amazing. Like, just keep doing that. Problem solved, right?
Yeah.
And also, you get to keep the moo there as well, and you get to skip the little waiting on those little nice things as well. That's really, really good. So there's an example of using a moo in an area you're not supposed to use it. But yeah, this is like most people's first introduction to door clips, and it is quite the tricky one. Just gonna give him most concentration time.
Little easier than the other one. Not that I'm necessarily showing that off right now. Oh, got trolled. There we go.
Lovely stuff. Yeah, so there's a few different ways that one can go. You can either end up on the top and you can clip through the top section, or you can get straight through the door like the amoser did there. That was like, it took a couple of tries, but honestly, if that trick only takes a couple of tries, you're having a great time because it's a really, really hard trick.
Yeah.
So this section here, auto-scroller again, we're trying to keep this move till the end. There's spikes everywhere inside, so it's really, really annoying, but it does let you skip like a very small section at the end by not having to use 2 moves to break something. You can only use 1 instead, which is really, really handy. So we can probably do a donation, I guess.
Sounds like a plan. We have a $250 donation from Anonymous, just saying, woohoo!
Wahoo!
Wahoo. Wahoo indeed. Also, that door is not designed to fit that move through it. You can tell that they weren't expecting you to have a move here. So using it to break that box is exactly what we were talking about before. Normally, you'd have to grab that shielded move twice and then use it to break the box and then go back and get it again, which is really slow. So having a move available is really, really handy. Also, nice little shot here, just getting the B past that big move.
So I gotta wait 2 seconds now because these gondolas are actually on a frame rule. They depart every 2 seconds. So because I had that tiny little hiccup heading over to it, I missed the optimal cycle, so I actually lost one, but no big deal.
Yeah, that's a relatively new revelation with the gondolas, right?
I think it's an old revelation. It's a new thing that people are exploiting. By which I mean,
I see, right.
Only Balneor actually catches skips the first frame rule in 3-1. I get it a very small percentage of the time, and I did not get it this time around. I don't think any of the top runs actually at the moment have the skip either. It's really crazy precise.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're in 3-2 now. 3-2 has these kind of timed explosive enemies. They are somewhat useful because we're going to be using them for a couple of animation skips. So we've kind of seen one animation skip / clip earlier, and we're going to be seeing it now coming up on 3. It's coming up at the start of 3-2 here.
Yeah, I'm gonna use the backup method. I tried to do it with that earlier enemy, but it didn't open. It didn't quite work there either, unfortunately. But that's to be expected. It's almost impossible to get 3 for 3 on these animation skips. The principle behind them is that it buffers your jump or your double jump if you are in the process of grabbing an enemy while you double jump. So if you happen to just land on the ground at the exact moment you're grabbing an enemy and trying to double jump, your jump will just be buffered indefinitely because it says, oh, well, I can't double jump now because you're not doing a single jump, you're on the ground. So I'll just wait forever. And then it just so happens that the door animation is sufficient to make it think you're no longer on the ground. And you double jump immediately, which gives you back control. You're not supposed to have control during the animation. So the collision on the doors doesn't even work during the animation, so you can just clip right through. That was what we saw at the beginning of 3-1, but the explanation was way too lengthy at the time, so I decided to defer it until here.
Yeah, also here's Joker. He's really, really annoying.
Oh boy, yeah.
We'll be saying more of him later. Also introducing a kind of intentional mechanic that we're going to use in creative ways later, which is using the moves to double jump. So we've been using that a bunch of times already.
Ooh.
But doing 2 in a chain like that, this is kind of where the game introduces that concept. And there are going to be moments later where we're going to be doing really long chains of enemies in some scenarios to, potentially actually, there's a strat that amoser does that means we may not see quite as many chains in one go. But it's basically a really cool intended mechanic, but as mentioned, we can use it in really unintended ways. It kind of really exploits the 2D and 3D element that we have with this game as well, which is really cool. This whole stage is like a big I always feel like it looks like a soft play area for kids.
Yeah, it's really, I love this stage actually. I think it's probably I think this is the stage that my friend was playing when I was introduced to the game. So it's particularly special to me. It's also particularly tragic because you'll notice this is the room we were in the first part of the stage, and you would think that if you could squeeze an enemy through one of those doors, you'd be able to double jump up here and skip the whole stage. And we just recently found a human viable way of getting an enemy through. There was a TAS way, but not a human way, but we finally found one. But this platform is frozen right here when you don't have the gear mechanism moving. So even if you double jump and get onto those conveyor belts early, you get stuck there. And because you wasted your enemy, you still cannot skip the whole stage. So very, very tragic. I still hold out hope that we will figure out a way to skip the whole stage because we are so close. But for now, still not doing it. So if you are interested in some glitch hunting, that is a thing to look at because I really think it's going to happen sometime. We've gotten closer and closer.
Yeah, it's really cool that they had the idea that, you know, we need we need everything to like respond to activating the switch, right? But from a speedrunning point of view, you'd almost rather that they just had that one room be like locked and not like tied into it at all. Anyway, this is Gelg Bomb. Gelg Bomb is really, really annoying. The fastest way to kill Gelg Bomb is
not that.
Somewhat high. Oh yeah, no, yeah, not that. Sadly, so. Once something goes wrong in Gelg Bomb, it all becomes like a bit of a free-for-all, which is very frustrating. But essentially, he has like these attacks, like this big orb that he's sending at amoser right now, and then this jump attack as well, which is very slow. You can kind of bypass all of that with some really, really like precise like jumps and enemy hits and stuff, but they are really hard to do. So we're just kind of taking a more intended route to Gelg Bomb now.
Yeah, we're still gonna do that end strat if we're lucky.
Oh yeah, you got the moves in just the right place.
Oops, except now I can't. Yeah, there we go. Nice.
Oh, there you go. So that's like really, really challenging, especially considering that amoser learned this game, as mentioned, on like the PS1 version. The PS2 version is different in terms of how enemies behave when they hit Gelg Bomb and where the hitboxes and stuff like that. So yeah, it's all like very like different.
A big difference I discovered
because
is it can crash. I had it crash twice in practice, so the fact that we didn't have to reset, that's good enough for me. I am happy with that.
Yeah, you know what? Not crashing is a good thing. This is 4-1. 4-1 has two of the most wild skips in the game. So this one here is really, really awkward to do. And then we have like the kind of big skip at the end of the stage. This is another wall clip.
Almost fell in the void,
Lovely
but
stuff.
didn't.
Yeah, if you fall in a place the game doesn't intend you to, you kind of just fall in the void for ages. So not only is it time loss because you died, it's time loss because you have to wait for the game to work out where Klonoa is, and then like move you to the checkpoint. A little bit low on health here, so I think Mace is going to get a little bit careful.
Yeah, playing it very safe there.
Yeah, absolutely. I do not blame you at all. There you go, refill.
Yes, I missed it.
Yeah, please get it. Don't do this to me.
All right, so that means unfortunately we can't do the crazy version of the skip because we triggered that enemy early. So we're going to use the backup method. A shame, but not a surprise. The crazy version is super, super inconsistent anyway, so we were very unlikely to see it. Hopefully we'll see the correct version sometime soon. That was not quite it.
So as previously mentioned, you can chain a lot of double jumps together, and basically by killing enemies in this particular order and standing in these particular places, going for these particular double jumps, amoser can get a lot of height and get all the way up to the stage exit, which is directly above us. So because, again, the game is like a 2.5D platformer, you've got... oh, so close. So
yeah,
this is a really hard trick.
I threw the enemy. I threw the enemy and made a break where it wasn't supposed to, which I was about to do again. So I'm going to just try this again. Getting a little trolled here, unfortunately. Getting very trolled here, unfortunately. We're going to die.
It may seem like there's like more opportunities to do things than it seems, but you have to consider where all the enemies are in their respective cycles because they all move around.
Oh gosh!
And you need them to be in like the exact positions that you want.
Yeah, just a bit of a choke here with the timing on the getting the wind bullet to come out. Finally, okay.
There we go.
That'll do. Not quite what I wanted, but we got there.
Hey, there's still like a super difficult trick. I think after my like first run of this game, I got that like first try and saved 15 minutes. So it's like it's that kind of trick, you know?
Yep, definitely definitely one that can go a little wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is 4-2. 4-2 is like a much like faster stage in terms of the like just playing it. You know, we don't do too much unintended stuff in 4-2, but it has like a really nice flow to it. And then we get to the boss, and the boss is like my favorite boss in the whole game. It's really cool.
Also my favorite.
I'm pretty sure it's like everyone's favorite, right?
Yeah.
Just for the music.
Yeah.
The music is so good on the boss.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, the gameplay is the only weak point.
Yeah, I know, right? I know, yeah.
Story and the music are beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really
so
hard
coming up here, we're going to
boost.
go for a very small damage boost.
Didn't quite get it.
Very frustrating. Yeah, you want to try and just about get over the head of that enemy so it damage boosts you to the right instead of the left. So you can get through that door in one go, but not too much of an issue.
I'm gonna play this a little safe as well. I can do a damage boost there too, but I don't want to have no health going into the boss if I can avoid it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of weird, even though you're kind of above where you just were in that section, you're still over a bottomless pit for some reason. Also, we're not going to worry about who was in that house.
Yeah, right.
We're not going to...
Didn't really even look like a
that
house.
That was a completely empty house. No one that Klonoa is emotionally attached to in that house at all. This is Palladium, I think. I can never say the name properly, but yeah, it has these these like colored rocks on it. Each of these like refers to a different attack, and they are the weak points. So we want to be going for. I think at the moment. Oh. I'm just going for like the attack cancel strat.
Exactly, yeah. And unfortunately, it lost us a bit of time, but we did get to see it. So we canceled his yellow attack there. He was going to summon an enemy, but we just stopped him from doing that.
Yeah, and the yellow attack is the worst. So even if it loses a tiny bit of time, it's quite a relief to not have any yellows left. You'll see with the other hits that Amos is going for 2. So ideally going for 2 on that attack cancel hit as well, just delaying it so that you can cut the yellow one off before it like appears.
Getting a bit trolled, but we get to hear more of the music, so really this is the optimal way to do this.
It's such good music. There you go. Nice fight. Getting the attack cancel was like really cool. I've actually not seen that.
Yeah, I don't think anyone has. That's why I wanted to show it off. Yeah, unfortunately the fight didn't go great, but the trick did.
It's fine. It's not the worst fight to not go great, right? Like
yeah.
We're in 5-1 now. 5-1 has 4 different paths. You can approach them in any order. It is somewhat preference, although you kind of want the last one you do to be closer to the door, so either blue or green. We're going over to the red-blue side at the moment. It'll be interesting to see which one Amos is going for first. I know which one I would rather do first, but that's because I'm a big scaredy cat. Okay, Amos is not doing what I do. Amos is being brave. So getting a small damage boost here means that you can grab the Moo on the other side of the fire. Small optimization. You need the Moos here to hit these platforms. Don't do what I did and forget to do that and then get to the other side and lose your run because you didn't hit the platforms. And the lava in this game, by the way, we haven't encountered that yet, but lava kills you in 1 hit. So it's not like Spyro where you can like land in it and jump out again or whatever. Like it's just a death down there. So if you touch that at any point, you are back to the last checkpoint. So jumping over lava, even if it's simple jumps, very, very scary stuff. So there we go. There's the red orb. Nice damage boost at the end to get through the fire again. There's going to be a lot of damage boosting through fire in this section. Oh, crossing over now. Interesting.
Yeah, I do this differently every time.
Do you actually? Oh,
yep.
Fair enough. I always have this set order because I'm scared and I do the ones I'm scared of first. It's somewhat, I'm like, don't tell me, but I'm going to put my money on green.
You got it.
Okay, I think I picked kind of late to...
Well, you know, I mean...
Yeah, that...
You didn't know until I did the little checkpoint trick there where you get the platform moving so you don't lose any time. Nice.
So this trick is super cool. So we mentioned, you know, stuff in the foreground and the background. The game doesn't intend you to do what Amoser just did, but basically there was a checkpoint in the background. So Amoser jumped off, threw an enemy into the background, hit the checkpoint, and then immediately died because we jumped into a pit, and then respawned at the checkpoint, skipping the entirety of the green section and ending up right at the end there. So really, really nice stuff. Now we're crossing back over to blue. Blue is my least favorite one. it involves another wall clip, but I personally find it super inconsistent. And then even if you do get over to the other side, sometimes there's a couple of enemies there and they can really mess with you. And I just don't like worrying about blue. It's a really annoying one for me anyway.
Yeah.
This is just gonna do it first try and then I'll feel silly, but.
Oh gosh, no pressure.
Okay, this is okay. Oh wow, that jump, yeah.
Yep, that's a nice backup for when you happen to get the troll where it throws you down much lower than where the platform actually is, which is the thing that can happen is pretty much unavoidable occasionally. So, yeah, having that
normally happens to me. That's why I don't like the blue one. Amoser just showing off exactly why I hate it. Thank you for that. Thank you for the anxiety. I appreciate it. So now we're going to finish up on yellow. Yellow is, like, there's one small way to speed it up at the end with another damage boost. But other than that, it's a relatively, like, intended, like, route through here. We could probably get another donation in, actually, before 5-2. There's a lot going on in that stage.
Sounds like a good idea. We have $15.30 from PowerStone05 saying, "It delights me to see Klonoa take the GDQ stage once again. Amoser has been a fantastic individual in the Klonoa community, and we're so excited for them to show off this incredible game to everyone at this early hour. Knock it out of the park and to the Moon Kingdom, Amoser. We're rooting for you."
Thank you so much.
Ruperudu.
I'm not even going to try and pronounce. Well, sure I will. Ruperudu. It's not. Oops.
I was just going to say I'm not going to try and pronounce it. So we're on 5-2. 5-2 is an entirely cycle-based level because while you're in the outside section of 5-2, it is constantly cycling between day and night. So Amoser just got the best cycle right there at the start, which is really, really good stuff. Essentially, once you're like in like the nighttime section, the enemies can't be picked up, and any enemies you're carrying will be destroyed. So, as you can see, when you need enemies to do certain things, it's really important to not have them destroyed.
Entered that door a little early by accident.
Yeah, so Amoser trying to set up the cycle as well, because when you go through a door, I think if it's changing from day to night, it'll swap from night to day, and you want it to be daytime when you come out here. So just taking a small amount of time there to make sure that the cycle is where Amoser wants it coming out.
Exactly. No one saw that.
So, first section done. The thing with this stage as well is if you end up off cycle, then you have to do a lot of creative thinking about like where the cycles are. It's a very like thought-heavy stage. Also at nighttime, these platforms appear, which is going to be really relevant later on because there's a long section of platforms that we need to have for a decent amount of time so that we don't just fall down to the bottom again. Also, this is just evil. Like, there's fire over a bottomless pit. If you get hit, you'll fall off. It's really nasty. Here, I think what the game intends you to do is to grab some enemies that spawn during the daytime. But instead, we can just damage boost through these guys, which is great. Grabbing enemy here. The indoor sections are like they're not too bad. There's not really. I think there's like one wall clip in one of them that you can do, but it doesn't really save much time at all. Okay, so this is one of the enemies I mentioned before, and we want to get here during daytime so that we can hit that switch. And the Amoser are actually able to carry this enemy all the way through. That's really, really good stuff. If you can't carry that enemy through, then you can just hit the switch and jump off the platform as it comes back out. But yeah, that's like a really good execution.
Here comes a little audio cue, so I'm gonna ask for a little bit of quiet. This should be the only audio cue I need to hear in the run.
Yeah, we'll explain it after.
It might be too late, unfortunately. Oh, we made it. Okay.
Hey, nice. So there is a tiny seam in that wall where you can grab that move through it. So instead of doing the puzzle, you can just grab it. But the only way you can really tell if you're in the right spot is to hear if Klonoa's wind shot is like bouncing on the wall or not. So that's why we had to be nice and quiet for that one, just so that Amoser could hear if he was in the right spot. So 5-2 over. The next boss is, I personally hate it. It has like, I think the worst hitboxes ever. I really don't enjoy playing this boss, but I'm sure Mose is gonna make it look really simple.
This is the scariest boss by far.
Yeah. So Joker has these, oh wow, that's really good. Joker kind of has these fists that he swings around, and they will block enemies as well as dealing damage to you. And then once you've hit Joker 3 times, we go into the nighttime section where he turns into like some kind of demonic Leopleurodon type creature. In this state, the enemies are invincible, and the only way to turn Joker back is to stand on all of these squares on the floor. It can get really, really frustrating, especially if the enemies all clump up under you, because you want to do something. Oh, wow, that's really tight. That was really good. Like trying to jump on the platforms around the moves can be really, really frustrating. You can get health back in this section, but what I often find happens is that when the health spawns, you're just too far away from it and it'll go off the edge. So that is the first nighttime section done. Joker changes his behavior every time as well. So I believe on the second time around, he starts jumping, or is that the third one?
I don't even know.
Not even going to think about it. No, he starts running this time. He jumps on the third one. The jumping is really annoying. He always just waits until you throw it and then does it. You can also, I think that there's an element of this stage as well where when you move around, your perspective kind of changes slightly depending on whether you run to the left or the right, which can be really, really relevant when it comes to hitting Joker, because you can get some hits at angles you wouldn't really expect. But then you go to try it again and the angle's slightly off and then you just completely miss him. There's a lot of frustrating components to this fight.
You vocalized the ooh that I was not even able to emit. That was a little creepy. Come on.
So here we go, just standing on these platforms again. Also, the boss attacks are really, really annoying as well. He does a sweep or a chop. And the chop, I don't know what it is. I just find it really hard to work out where the chop's actually going to land. Trying to space around it is really, really awkward.
Completely, yeah. There's just not enough, there's barely not enough time to really react to where it's going to be. So if you get down to no health and you can't tank that hit, sometimes you just have to pause the game and save your run.
Yeah, pause buffer it, yeah. Anyway, there we go, that's Joker. We are through Joker. That is big sigh of relief.
Yep.
The remaining two bosses aren't too bad, but we've got some interesting stages to go through first. So 6-1 is kind of they kind of with the Moon Kingdom to have this kind of 4-sectioned areas where you need to go and activate a switch to open another section and then a switch to activate another section. And turns out, because we can clip through walls with things, we can skip all of that. So what Amos is trying to do here is clip out of this room with the Moo. Even though you don't need to clip out of the room, turns out that the exit for this whole area that you would normally get to by clearing out all of these totems by hitting respective switches, turns out it's just up here. And if you can get a Moo where you're not supposed to, you can just jump straight up to the exit here.
Nice.
So this is the end of the stage. Yeah, we skipped the entirety of 6-1. We just decided not to engage with it.
Yeah, pretty fast wall clip too. That was nice.
Yeah, that one can be really weird because you have to start from further away to get the camera in the right position. You can't just run straight up to the wall and do it. It's a really awkward one to do. Anyway, 6-2. So Amos is going for a really cool strat in 6-2 that I only found out about recently, and it completely changed my perspective of this stage, because I thought the normal strat was hard. But we're going to see something completely different in a minute. So this is another stage where you've got essentially 4 different barriers. There are 4 different switches, 4 different sections. You clear out all the barriers, you can get through to the end. Normally what we do is we get an enemy and we clip through to the second to the last section, and then we clip from there towards the end using some creative double jumps and the fact that it's a 3D world. However, what Amos is going to try and do right here is bypass even that. So we do the wall clip here.
First try. Oh my gosh.
That's amazing. That is so good.
Oh my gosh.
such a precise trick. So amoser there has skipped the entirety of like the second to last section, and we've just gone straight to the end with one clip instead of doing two different tricks. That's so good.
Oh boy. This is normally the scariest part of the run, but with that trick, this is nothing.
Yeah, so Gadius here is we're going to be trying to manipulate the enemies that we use. There are 3 phases to Gadius, and essentially what we want to do is get his health in a position where we can skip phase 3. Phase 3 is like really annoying, and if you've lost health during the first 2 phases, then it's also very easy to die there. So, like, you know, I can't imagine anyone would do that in a marathon run. Let's pretend that I never did that. And
oh, really bad RNG, unfortunately. We only got 4 hits.
Oh, that's very annoying.
Yeah, so now we have to do the optimal but really scary strat is to get 4 hits in the first half of the first phase. So now we have to go for the scariest strat, but without the time save associated with it, so that's going to be fun.
Yeah, so we're in phase 2 now with these rockets. Also, these orbs will, like, if they hit you, they send you back to, like, the outside of the ring, which you can use to speed up the time between phases, because it skips all of Gadius's animation.
Oh, not quite. That's okay. Back up.
Oh, it's one hit in third phase isn't too bad. So we're moving into third phase. You can see we've got this really long animation here as well. There would have been one of those for first phase to second as well, but we've bypassed that by going onto the outer rim. But the like portals disappear. Oh, really nice early hit. So Gadius has this triangle, which he will like throw around all over the place. You have to hit the corners to release the moves. But by going right up the side there, amoser was able to get an early hit on it and release the enemies early, which meant that you could go for like the hit sooner and avoid having to dodge the triangle, and it is just much safer. So we're on to the final boss. The final boss. This is Nahatom. He's a big purple guy. The first phase of Nahatom is somewhat annoying because it spawns the enemies. It doesn't spawn enough to kill him in one cycle. The idea is you have to load the enemies into these cannons. So he'll release these from the armor, and then he's gonna start doing this tongue attack. This is very annoying. You have to be very careful where you jump, and if it hits you, he has this really long animation where he chews you up and he shoots you out of his like weird like cannon thing on his back. So you just don't want to get hit by the tongue. It's really, really annoying.
Oh, we lost the coin flip.
It's not even that painful in terms of health. It's just, you know, loses a lot of time.
Yeah, the tongue is the scariest boss in the game, I think. After Joka, of course, but yeah, we missed missed out on a task cycle there because we got bad RNG. You have to guess which way he's going to spawn the enemies, and unfortunately, I guessed wrong, so we missed the task cycle. It's literally a 50-50 shot, so unfortunately, nothing we could do about that, even if we tried our best.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a few moments like that in the game where it's just, you know, it's a small amount of RNG, it loses a tiny bit of time, but it's just really annoying when it happens. Like, this is phase 2. Most is going to be taking an intentional death at the start of phase 2 because there's this really long animation that the face plays when it's like revealing its weak point or whatever. And we can skip that just by taking an intentional death and going back to the start of the phase. So here we have these crystals. These are the weak points. We want to hit the crystals with the moves in the most efficient way possible whilst dodging the face's attacks. This is somewhat of a chill phase. There's not an awful lot that can go wrong here, aside from like walking off the edge, but that's super unlikely. I'm definitely not jinxing this, I promise. Most of don't walk off the edge, okay?
I'm going to try not to. I'm going to try not to. We're going to do our best.
Cool.
We're going to see what happens.
And then the second part, we've got this like big crystal that moves around. Just have to get a couple of hits on this. It moves around quite a lot, and it can be quite awkward to hit if you're like new to the game. But if you know where to stand, then you can just wait for it to appear. So that's phase 2. We can skip part of the cutscene in phase 2. As soon as the floor disappears, we can go for a cutscene skip. There we go. And now we're on to phase 3. He is definitely a lot scarier looking than he was before. And we're filling cannons again, except now the cannons are below the stage. So each of these cannons represents like the leader of an area that we've been to so far and like rescued. So it's kind of the story all tying together, everyone coming together to fight the big evil guy. You have to be very careful with throwing the moves into these cannons because the hitbox or like the death plane for this stage is higher than you'd think. So if you try and go too low when you're throwing the enemies, you can accidentally take a death and then you have to repeat the section. He's just going to be doing like all kinds of things though. He's got the rainbow like shockwave attack. He's got the the destroying the platforms attack, so you can't wait around on them for too long. Occasionally he'll spawn in an armored moo that's going to run around and get in the way. So there's a lot of moving parts to this section, but in terms of what you have to do, all you got to do is get those moves, get them in the cannons.
Oh, I missed that one.
Ooh.
A shame.
Yeah, the hitboxes are really, really finicky on the cannons. So.
Oh, and this RNG is not quite what we wanted, but that's okay. We're just about at the end of the run anyway, so we're just gonna do that, and time will be coming up.
There we go. So time's going to be when the health bar shatters at the very end when it explodes.
Time.
GG.
So what was the final time out of sheer curiosity?
Looks like that's going to be a 42-43.
You know what? That is just fine. That is just fine. I'm perfectly happy with that. We got some of those really new skips, so that's fantastic. But now we've got a bonus level to do. So I'm going to go ahead and plug my memory card in and restart my console.
So I don't think I've actually looked at the bonus level since I was a child. So this is going to be a voyage of discovery for me as well.
Yep, that's correct. Awesome, yeah. I'm just going to wait for the console to finish turning on and then load the save file, and then eventually we'll get there. So I guess in the meantime, I'll do some shout-outs. I'm sure I'm going to forget a bunch of people, but first of all, everyone who donated, everyone in the audience, thank you so much for being here. Everyone in the wider Klonoa community as well, especially the Klonoa Mega Chat and the Klonoa Speedruns Discord, of course, which is my home base. Please feel free to come and talk to us there, and we'll do our absolute best to help you get running this game if you're interested. If you're interested in any of the Klonoa games, the Wii remake, the Game Boy Advance games, the Wonder Swan game, Moonlight Museum, the as yet released Fantasy Reverie series that's coming out in a week. Any of those, we're happy to talk about those. Particular thanks to Balnior for kind of doing most of the routing for this game. Dill Wingo for helping me get the right hardware to be able to do this run, which otherwise would not have been able to happen. All the restreamers, particularly the French restreamer whose name escapes me, unfortunately, but thank you very much. And Nako22, who's the world record holder and is going to be actually hosting a little mini Klonoa marathon coming up in a couple weeks. There's not an English restream sorted out for that yet. There's hope for that though, so maybe come by and see us on the Discord, and we'll let you know where to watch that, because that's going to be fantastic as well. Yeah, that's about it for now. We're ready to do this bonus level, and then I'll finish up the shout-outs after that. So time's going to start right when I go through this door here. So 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, so as mentioned, I haven't actually played this since I was a kid. So I am somewhat in the dark here. I think you get this from 100%ing the rest of the game, right?
Yeah, although it's the easy 100%, not the one where you get all the gems. You only need to rescue all the prisoners. And as you can see,
that's right.
There's an in-game timer here, and that's what we normally use for the speedrun. Let me just focus for a bit here. That's what we normally use for measuring the times. So I'm hoping for a sub 3-minute time. That would make me very, very happy if we can pull that off. The best IL runners of this can get close to 150 using some very scary strats, and using some IGT abuse that's not RTA friendly. You can actually get down to 1 minute and 40 seconds, and that's Balnior's world record, which is absolutely fantastic. I highly recommend you watch that out when you get the chance.
very close to the lava there.
Yep, that was a little scary. There's actually a strat you can do there to bring a moo into this area, save a couple frames, but that got scary, so I didn't risk it. So here's a skip. Oops, that was a little not quite what I wanted, so we're gonna try that again this way. Oops. Oh. We'll give that another shot. So we're trying to do here is backtrack. Oh, not quite.
Oh, so close.
You really have to, and I'm not getting this well, you really have to take careful advantage of your momentum, which is not a thing that's happening to me right now. So
yeah, this was kind of the even just playing this normally, this is kind of the point where the devs kind of said, oh, you thought you were doing unintended things with our mechanics? Well,
so
let's make them intended, I guess.
Yeah, there is an intended way where you go all the way to the other side. I'm pretty sure they knew you could do it this way. But there is another way to do it.
Yeah, the whole stage in general, I mean, like, I like that stack of enemies. Like,
yeah.
They just did like a lot of creative things with the movement in the game. It's really, really cool. Oh, the lava. It's very anxiety-inducing. Like,
yeah,
it's like if they took the drowning sound effect from Sonic and made it into a stage.
Exactly, yeah. We're not quite gonna make the sub 3 minute, but we'll be pretty darn close, I think. Unless I die right here. I don't want to jinx us. .303, close enough.
GG.
All right, and that is Klonoa. Thank you so much. Thanks especially to everyone who helped organize this. Everyone I've met here so far has been helpful in numerous ways. So thanks so much to everyone I've met. There's far too many people who have been helpful, and of course, a particular thanks to ailis, both for doing this fantastic commentary and for just being such a supportive member of the community in general. I think that's it for me. This has been Klonoa. Thanks a lot.
Fantastic job, Amoser, on that Klonoa run. I think we're all pretty excited for what the remake is going to provide, and that was just a fantastic showcase. In fact, Victor Hunter donated $20 saying, "Thank you for showing off one of the best platformers of all time. Here's to all the new skips we'll be finding with Fantasy Reverie's new jump mechanic. And hello to me when I watch this again on the VOD. I love you." All right, and just as quickly as it's come, unfortunately, my time on the hosting mic has come to an end for today. I do have one more shift later on in the week, but I will be leaving you in the very capable hands of Bonnie Dimples as we wrap up here. But first, we're going to take a little break, and we'll see you on the other side.
Ladies and gentlemen, and that beautiful rainbow in between, welcome back to Summer Games Done Quick 2022, live and in person here in my hometown of Bloomington, Minnesota. My name is Bonnie Dimples, and I am your... Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I am your host for the first ever GDQ run of Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, by seven-time GDQ veteran, Maxylobes. Can we get it up for Maxy over here? All right, and straight off, we're gonna get right into an interview with Maxy himself. Let's go.
Hello, everybody at SGDQ 2022. My name is Adef, and I have a wonderful interview for you on this fine Wednesday morning. Gamers, we are joined by Maxylobes, who will be showing off Lord of the Rings, Return of the King in just a little bit here. Maxy, how are you?
I am doing very well, Adef.
Excellent. Are you excited for your run? It's coming up. It's right after this interview.
Yeah, I am very excited. There's been a very long time where Lord of the Rings hasn't really had a chance to be shown off at GDQ. I think The Hobbit got in, but Lord of the Rings kind of just got, sideswept a little bit, and it's finally time to, give it its moment to shine.
Excellent. It's time for Middle-earth to be displayed at GDQ.
Exactly.
Well, sweet. Let's get right into the questions.
Let's go.
So, Maxy, you've speedrun a ton of games. I mean, looking at your speedrun.com profile, there are so many titles and so many categories. A lot of them horror-specific, I've noticed. There's lots of Resident Evil and things like that. So I'm curious, what drew you to Lord of the Rings Return of the King specifically?
So I have this kind of, this quest that I'm on with speedrunning in general because I've been doing it for so long. When I started with, Silent Hill 2 and Resident Evil 4, and that kind of shaped my future with a lot of horror titles, especially with, streaming on Twitch and trying to build that as a career and whatnot.
Right.
And I found myself, thinking like, well, I have so many games in my library from when I was a child, that really resonate with me, and I want to try those out, even if they aren't horror. And so I went to like Jet Set Radio, I went to Beautiful Joe and Devil May Cry. And so Lord of the Rings fills this quota for myself where it's like, I want to run a movie game.
Yeah.
So the movie game that I started with was Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. And I found myself like enjoying the run, but there was something in my mind. I was like, this game isn't as good as Return of the King. I know this because I've played these as a kid. I remember Lord of the Rings, Return of the King is just better. It's just, it feels better. The mechanics are better. It looks better. It's just more enjoyable. And even though it's longer, I found myself really liking it a lot more than Two Towers. So that was the movie game for me.
Sweet. And, I know you mentioned to me a little bit before this that the console any percent run, or the console speed run and the PC speed run are a little bit different. Could you elaborate?
So the mechanics and everything works the same. It's the fact that on the PC version, for whatever reason, I'm not too really sure why this works. On the result screen, you just mash through everything. On the console version, you can't do that. You have to watch all of your points tick and your level go up and stuff like that. So their runs are identical, but you just can't mash through that result screen, which does save quite a bit of time, but the run is identical other than that.
Do you have a preference? Is there one you prefer?
Well, my preference is PC because I love to mash through the result screen and then do the menuing really quick.
Sure.
It's just, it looks cool. It makes the menuing really nice, enjoyable to watch. But honestly, the console version is way more consistent. The PC version does have some issues. That's actually why I did switch.
Sure.
Because unforeseen circumstances, really. So, but I was ready. Ready. So.
Well, either way, I think we're all excited to see the run, and console or not, it sounds great. We're going to see a lot of different characters throughout this run. I mean, through Tolkien's books, there are lots of main characters, right? And in the movies as well. So I know we'll see Gandalf and Gimli and several others. Do you have a favorite character, maybe both casually and speedrunning, or maybe it's different?
I feel like, in a casual sense, when you play the Path of the King, which is you get to choose between Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli. When I was a kid, loved playing Aragorn.
Sure.
Aragorn's my dude.
Big main character energy.
Absolutely. But in the speed run, we play as Legolas, and I found myself really enjoying him because his skill set really is quite overpowered.
Really?
But you'll see that during the run. But Gandalf is awesome.
Yes.
Gandalf, I don't know why. In the game, he doesn't seem like he's 7,000 years old.
Sure.
He's like a 23-year-old on a dollar slice and 2 Red Bulls. Like he's going,
Let's go. We love to see Gandalf zoom in. It's because he's Gandalf the White. He's upgraded from Gandalf the Grey.
Yeah.
He's on the good stuff.
Yeah.
He's feeling powerful.
He farmed all of the experience points from Balrog.
Yeah, from the Balrog, he feels good.
Yeah.
He feels jacked. We love that. Excellent. Well, I'm curious if that is the same for the books and the movies. If you're a Lord of the Rings fan, do you think that Gandalf is also your favorite character in the movies, or is it a little bit different?
In some ways, he is. I feel like all of the scenes that Gandalf was involved in the movies are memorable and they're charming.
Yeah.
He's just a great character. But I will say, Sam and Frodo, the dynamic duo, Sam being the hard carry for the Fellowship.
Yes. Share the load.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, Samwise is the best. Sean Astin kills it in that.
Oh, Sean is awesome.
So my final question for you, Maxylobes, is what's next? After SGDQ, after this run, what can we expect from Maxylobes?
I do have a lot of love for many different games and different genres. As I told you, one of my journeys for speedrunning is to try to find a bunch of different games, whether it be like taking up like a fighting game like Tekken and just kind of doing like the fighting mode, like the Tekken 3 has like this arcade story thingamabob that you can do.
Okay.
It's 4 and 5 have it too, if I recall correctly. And then, there's quite a lot of other games that are in my repertoire. Like, I do want to get into more horror, but I want to like branch out into different genres of horror.
Sure.
Maybe do some classic PS2 titles like The Thing, which is like a sequel to like the movie, but it's in game form. It's really crazy, I know, yeah.
Okay.
And then, there's other stuff that I want to get into, like, Dead Space, and then, there's just everything. Even a racing game would be cool to get into, like Burnout Takedown or something, just kind of get a feel for like everything that speedrunning has to offer, really.
You want to be a jack of all trades.
Spice of life is variety, so
There you go. Well, excellent, Maxylobes. I, for one, can't wait for the Lord of the Rings Return of the King run that is coming up just after this. Everyone, do not adjust your dials. Keep the channel tuned to SGDQ. The run is coming up right after this.
Indeed it is. And while we're waiting for that, let's get to another couple donations here. Got one from Sammy P for $25. Shoutouts to my friends that I used to play Lord of the Rings Return of the King with. Looking forward to seeing it done way more effectively than we ever did. Thank you, Sammy. Got $25 from Lori Borealis. So hyped for the Lord of the Rings run. Good luck to Maxylobes. I'll be cheering you on as you play one of my all-time favorite games. You have my axe. Thank you, Lori Borealis. As a matter of fact, I will just note, I would love nothing more than to see these donations and the chat just flooded with all the Lord of the Rings memes, references, jokes, whatever you got. Just flood it like the Loudwater River that washed away the Nazguls. I'm ready for it. Let's all walk to Mordor together.